So I used the piano to start the bare bone idea of this beat. I played some jazzy chords or 7 chords, however you wanna call them. Then I layered those chords with some organs and it sounds like this. After giving a couple of listens, I realized that it's very dull and very basic or boring. However, like, yeah, it's an organ playing, but I wanted to give it a bit more texture, so I added a mellotron and a farfisha, I think it's called, which is an Arturia emulation of an Italian organ. After layering everything and making the intro, my issue was, how do I want it to sound? What vibe am I going for? And I wanted to take some inspiration. So after thinking for a bit, I wanted to take this intro or this beat to be more of a cinematic storytelling beat, I would say. And the first albums that came into my mind was After Hours and My Dear Melancholy by The Weeknd and Alone at Prom by Tory Lanez for that 80s vibe. I wanted to take elements from all of them three, basically. I decided that I want to keep the same chord progression on the entire track. So I started with the pads that anyone would do. This pad has two sections. One that is the main pad, I didn't do any changes to it besides like adding effect. The second section is more of a textury layer to the pad where I volume automation for certain parts, come in and go. Again, some ear candies or some textures to the pad. Okay, so we are back here in the DAW and I want to break down this pad. So this is the main pad I talked about that I didn't do any changes, and I'm gonna go through the other one as well. So it's a Prophet with this preset and I added an EQ. As you can see here, the chords are longer on the next section in the verse. Here they are 2 bars long, I think. 2 bars long, and here they are 4 bars long. So let's have a listen. So this is the main pad, and now let's hear this whole textury pad that I told you about. So let's start with this one. The first one is a Prophet again, with this preset in the air, with some saturation, EQ and a compressor. Then we have this OB1 that I think I processed it a lot and I had to bounce it because it consumes so much of my CPU. But let's see how it sounds like. And then we have these sky keys here. Again, I think I processed the hell out of it and I had to bounce it. Again, let's see how this sounds. A bit of movement. And then we have this vocoder here. We have this preset here, some reverb, some more reverb, some more reverb, some delay. I don't think I changed anything, I just slammed them. Some EQ. This plugin is free and it's just for panning. Let's see how this sounds like. I'm quite curious now with so many effects. This gives more of a heavenly vibe. Those two pads here, they are in the group, and the group is processed with a parallel compression and some panning and automation. So let's go into the parallel compression. If you don't know what a parallel compression is, it's not like you slam a reverb on it and you decrease the mix. It's not like that. You have the wet signal that is 100%, for example, and you combine it to a dry signal that has no processing on it. So that's it. So we have here on this chain a amp that is followed by a delay with those settings, with a frequency echo and a pan for movement. And then we have a center to make it more wider. We decrease the center here to make it more wider. A pan again, panning to the left, going more to the left, even if it goes to the right, but staying more to the left. And let's go into the automation that comes in and go, as I told you. And all together, it sounds like this. So after finishing with the pad, I was thinking, how do I want to arrange it? And if I want to make a cinematic storytelling beat, the first two songs that came into my mind was After Hours and Alone Again, where the arrangement is more so dissolving into the verse instead of jumping into the verse. One thing that you can see on the After Hours theme album, it's they added different elements that kind of move you forward towards the verse instead of, again, jumping into the verse. So I decided to do the same thing. So the first thing that I started with, it was vocals. I recorded myself doing some vowels such as O's and A's, and then I repitched them, warped them, playing with the BPM, just to give it that unsettling vibe that you can hear a lot on the Weeknd albums, not only After Hours, on all albums. And I ended up with this basically. So after finishing with the vocals, it was the time to add those ear candies or transition that you can hear a lot in the After Hours, such as bass drop, or like sometimes you can hear like different leads coming in and out, just to, again, to move it forward. And for me, I opted more for a bass drop and the lead that I automated the pitch that goes like, you know, I added that just to increase the energy basically. So after finishing this section that gives more of a interlude, intimate kind of feeling, more so like My Dear Melancholy, I would say, in my opinion. You can let me know what you think. I decided for the next section to go more dramatic, and I added a guitar and some strings that I layered with each other. And also, it was time to introduce some drum elements, and I introduced the hi-hat, the kick, and an open hi-hat. Again, I didn't want to kind of overwhelm the person that is listening to it. I wanted to add each element slowly. I didn't want to add everything all together and kind of give you this feeling like, oh my god, what the fuck that just happened, you know? I want slowly to dissolve into the drums and also into the verse. So that was my idea. So to emphasize that dramatic feeling, and also this is the section that leads into the verse, right? Where you bring the drums and everything and the energy increases. I decided that I want the bass to be reversed. Again, I didn't want the bass just to sit there and feel the low end. I wanted to contribute to that feeling that you are prepared for something to happen, and that happening is you leading into the drums basically. That's why the bass is reversed, because I wanted again to give you this feeling that okay, something is happening, I'm getting prepared for something, I'm getting prepared for the drums. We are back in the DAW, and I wanted to show you how it sounds like, everything from this part building into the verse basically. So let's have a listen. And I want to show the last part of this beat, that might be the chorus or whatnot. So let's play it from here. Leading into the last section of this beat, which might be a chorus, I don't know if it's a chorus, I changed the pad sounds, of course, because it needed to be more energetic, so I opted more for brighter sounds. Also, the bass is playing one bar note, the same as the kick, because the kick is playing each bar, and this helps increase the energy. So I think small changes like this, for example, you changing the pad sounds to more brighter, or you make the bass shorter, can help increase the energy, and you can feel like the energy increases, even if it feels very in your feeling. I don't know, you can still feel that the energy increase. I feel like this idea is quite complex and I haven't finished it, but I wanted to document it either way. I don't know, I felt like documented it, and I also want your opinion. What would you add? What would you take out? And what do you think of it anyway? So yeah, I will see you on the next one. Bye.